Rabbi, welcome. We have a special edition of our Wednesday night class tonight, being it that we're in the month of Elul, and we'll focus our attention to Elul related topics. Now, you'll forgive me if we go back to basics again. Many times we give classes on the subject of Elul and Rosh Hashanah, and we get so caught up in the depth of the subjects, so we get lost, and we forget the simple things, exactly what we're supposed to be working on in Elul and during this period of the year. So you forgive me, I'm talking to myself, I'm reminding myself of these subjects, just so we can have a chizuk together. The Gemara writes that Moshe Rabbeinu made 2 takanot for Bnei Yisrael, 2 enactments. Those enactments were that 30 days before each holiday, or we'll see which holidays, let's call it 30 days before Pesach, let's say, one has an obligation to start learning the laws of Pesach. 30 yom kodem ha'chag, 30 days before the Hag, before Pesach, dorshim b'alchot. You start learning the halachot. And he made another enactment that said that on the holiday itself, you have an obligation to study the laws that apply to that holiday. So, the question is obvious on this enactment. What happened to Rosh Hashanah? Why isn't there a law in the books that tell us and demand from us that 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, meaning in the beginning of the month of Elul, we have an obligation to start learning the laws of Rosh Hashanah and to start preparing? Why is it only when it comes to Pesach and not Rosh Hashanah? If you even want to take this question a little deeper, in the Parashah itself, where we learn this law, the actual part of the Torah that talks about this, it says, "Vaydaber Moshe et Mo'adei Hashem el Bnei Yisrael." It says, and Moshe taught the laws of the holidays to the people, and from there we learn that 30 days before you have to teach the laws. And in that same Parashah, in that same paragraph, it talks about Pesach, talks about Rosh Hashanah, Kippur. So why all of a sudden you learn that pasuk, the Pesach? What happened to Rosh Hashanah? Why isn't there a preparation demanded? Not optional, not a voluntary. Pesach's not voluntary. Pesach, you have an obligation to start preparing to learn the law. So why do we have this when it comes to Rosh Hashanah? And the answer that the books bring down is very simple answer. Pesach is a once-a-year item. And therefore, since it comes once a year, you need 30 days to prepare for it. The concept of Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, even though it's important, but it's not a new concept. It's the concept of Teshuvah, of repentance. And most people are under the impression that you can only make Teshuvah during this time of year. This is the Teshuvah season. And then you have the other seasons. No. Teshuvah can be made 365 days a year. There is no time that Teshuvah doesn't work. So therefore, you don't have to prepare for an item that happens all year round. That's the simple answer why you're not obligated to prepare for the item, because every day is the item. At the same time, in the month of Elul, there are some evident differences that we are coming close to the high holidays. In yeshivot, it's obvious. You know, in yeshivot, the boys go back to the yeshiva and to the kollel on Rosh Chodesh Elul. Once Elul starts, officially the summer is over. Everybody goes back to Eretz Yisrael if they're studying, or to the yeshiva over here, or back to the kollelim. So this year, Rosh Chodesh was August 15th or something. So someone will say, what do you mean? It's 2-3 weeks up to the summer. Could you go back late? No, we don't follow the solar calendar, by the way. We follow the lunar calendar, and that makes the final decisions. So for the yeshiva people, it's obvious, Elul and Rosh Hashanah, because we go back to yeshiva already, we're in a different head, we're in a different mode, we're learning full time again, so already we're preparing for these subjects. In Lakewood, for example, while the Musar the time that the boys in yeshiva learn Musar, ethics, normally, let's say, is a half hour. They'll add 15 more minutes to the Musar Seder during Elul, and the yeshiva learns a specific book, which is called Hot Chaim Leharosh, which is the custom to learn in the yeshivas this time of year, which talks about a day-to-day Musar. Today you work on this, tomorrow on this. It's 30 days, and each day you work on a different subject. So in the yeshivas, you feel it. I don't know how much you feel it on Norwood Avenue, or Ocean Avenue, or on Phillips Beach. Maybe you do feel it. I don't know. I haven't been there during Elul. I can't tell you. But I can tell you for sure that you do feel Elul in the shul. Especially in our shuls. And it's tremendous. You feel it by us like we talked about last week in the Selichot. You're just walking in the hallways and you hear the tunes, even if you're not part of the Slah, you hear the Anenus, the singing, the special tunes that we use only for the high holiday season. So that's a remembrance. But more importantly, Elul can be recognized by the way people are praying. The way people pray in Elul is not the same way they pray all year round. All year round they might be rushing, and they might be thinking about the Tefilah as they do. But in Elul, they know it's the last couple of days of the year. So just regular guys, you don't have to be a rabbi for this. Regular people, they're Amidah. Which when we say praying, we mean the Amidah, because that's the highlight of the prayer. I always when we say Tefilah, Tefilah means Amidah. So the Amidah of people in Elul becomes a little longer, and there's a little more intent, and there's a little more feelings. Now, there's a famous mahloket, and this is not a halakha class, but in our studying tonight, we're going to have to touch certain halakhot just to clarify the subjects. There is a famous mahloket amongst the rabbis. Do mitzvot need kavanah or not? And the way we say this is mitzvot selichot kavanah or in mitzvot selichot kavanah. What does that mean? Which means, before you do a mitzvah, are you obligated to think of what you're doing? The person is coming to shake a lulav. Can you just pick up the lulav, say, but I can't shake it, or does he have to take a minute before and think, I am now going to take the lulav because God told me to take the lulav? You have to think. So one rabbi says, yeah, you have to think that, and if you didn't think that, you're out. Doesn't count. But I shook it, rabbi, but you didn't have kavanah, you didn't think what you were doing, you're out. Another rabbi says, no, mitzvot don't have to have kavanah. Main thing is you do the mitzvot. Kavanah is nice. It doesn't say you're not allowed to have kavanah. But if you didn't have, it's okay. We follow Shulchan Aruch, and Maran says clearly, mitzvot need kavanah. Wow. That means when a person puts on his Tefilah in the morning, he has to think for a second. I'm now about to fulfill a mitzvah from the Torah like God commanded me. Baruch atah Hashem. And the Talet also. And Kriyat Shema also. And Birkat HaMazon also. All mitzvot from the Torah, it's not so difficult. It takes about, how long did it take? 3.4 seconds, just to think of, I am now about to fulfill a mitzvah from the Torah like God commanded. Whatever it may be, talet, tefillah. But everybody agrees that when it comes to tefilah, when it comes to prayer, prayer needs kavanah. There is no argument. Everybody agrees, even the rabbi that says other mitzvot, you don't have to have kavanah, or the kavanah doesn't negate the mitzvah. Everybody reads Tefilah, Shlichah, Kavanah. Prayer needs Kavanah. And if we open up some sources, for example, Harambam in Perek Daled Melchot Tefilah. Harambam writes like this: Hamisha devarim ma'akibim et Tefilah. Look at this. 5 things can negate your Tefilah. What are they? Taharat yadayim. Your hands have to be clean. It means if you prayed and your hands were unclean, according to Ramban, your Tefilah is negated. That's why Nitzilat is important in the morning before you pray. Kisui ha'irva, you have to be covered, you have to be dressed properly. Taharat makom Tefilah, the place where you're praying has to be tahor. V'devarim ha'avsim oto, different things that are preoccupying him. V'kavanat halev, that's the point we want. Kavanat halev. So according to Rambam, If one did not have Kavanah, now how are we going to interpret the word Kavanah? Are we going to call it concentration? It's a good word. We can call it concentration. It's not a bad word. Or we can call it intention. Kavanah. I think everybody understands what Kavanah means over here. So Rambam's telling you, if you didn't have Kavanah, you're out. Further, Rambam says, that's in Halakha Aleph. If you go to Halakha 15, Kavanah Aleph Ketzah. What does it mean, Kavanah? He explains it. Kol Tefilah she'ena b'Kavanah ena Tefilah. Look at this. Look at this. Any Tefilah that's without Kavanah is not a Tefilah. Imagine that. A guy could be praying for 80 years. He didn't miss a Tefilah. He goes up to Shamayim after 120. Tell me, hey, why didn't you ever pray? Well, I never pray. All my life I'm praying. So all I'm doing is praying. He says, no, you didn't have Kavanah. So this is very important to read this Rabbi. Most people don't know this. And then he says further, V'im mitpalel belo Kavanah, chozer mitpalel. You have to pray again. The Kavanah. I mean, don't think when he said the Amidah doesn't count, he meant it like to exaggerate. He didn't. No, he's telling you clearly. If you didn't have Kavanah, over. Repeat. So you read this Rambam, you get one impression. I want to show you another Rambam. This piece over here that I'm telling you over now is a famous piece of the Rambam. This is said over in all the yeshivot. It's a famous contradiction in Rambam, and the contradiction is alleviated by a great rabbi called Rav Chaim from Brisk. And this over here is, and they say this, the Rashi Yeshivot say this Torah over here. Now we're in a class over here with men and ladies, but we're giving you a regular class that's being said in the Yeshivot, how to be Yeshiv, how to reconcile two Rambams. You have the first Rambam? First Rambam says if you don't have Kavanah, you're out. Comes the Rambam in Perek Yud Halakha Aleph. Mi shitpalel velo kiven et libo, and he didn't have Kavanah, yachzor v'yitpalel b'Kavanah. So far so good. Pray again. Ve'im kiven et libo b'beracha rishona, but if he had Kavanah in the first beracha of the Amidah, that's the first beracha, Baruch Ata Hashem, Elokeinu Ktinu El Abraham, El Yitzchak, El Yaakov, Baruch Ata Hashem, again Abraham. If he had Kavanah, that beracha alone, Shuv eno sarich. That's enough. Contradiction. In one place, Rambam's telling me, any Amidah that doesn't have Kavanah doesn't count. He doesn't make a difference. Not the first beracha, at the end, it sounds like the whole Amidah has to have Kavanah. Then Rambam comes along over here and says, no, you have to have Kavanah. But if you did it in the first beracha, and then you didn't have Kavanah for the rest, you're okay. What do you mean? You just told me in Perek Dalet that you have to have Kavanah, Kol Tefilah, the whole Tefilah. This is a famous contradiction in Rambam, and we have to figure out a way how to reconcile it. Rav Chaim Brisk does reconcile it. He says like this: there are two types of kavanot. That's the famous way the Brisk is always answered. The rabbis from Brisk always would make it. They call it two dinim. They would break it. There's two types of kavanot. They split the hairs. What's the kavanah? One kavanah is like this. What are you saying? Perusha milim. What are the words? That's the basic kavanah. You have to know what you're saying. But there's another type of kavanah. And that kavanah is that you realize that you are standing in front of a Kadosh Baruch Hu at that moment praying. That's not a kavanah of knowing what you're saying. It's a different kavanah. Because you could know what you're saying and understand every word and being a linguist, but you're not thinking of who you're saying these words in front of. So the second kavanah is a kavanah that you're standing in front of Melech, Malchia, Melechim, HaKadosh Baruch, and you're talking to him, and you're in his palace, and you're requesting things from him. So Chaim Brisk comes and says a tremendous Hidush. And he says, the Rambam that says over here that you have to have kavanah, but as long as you have kavanah in the first beracha, you're okay. That's talking about the words. We wish a person would understand what he's saying through the whole Amidah. But at least you have to know and understand the words and the kavanah of the first beracha of the Amidah. That's what the Rambam means over here. But Harambam in Perek Dal was talking about a totally different Kavanah, not explanation of the words. Harambam was talking about a Kavanah that you know you're standing in front of Borei Olam. And according to Harambam, it comes out that if a person prayed the Amidah, and he understood every word from beginning to end, but he did not think that he's praying in front of Borei Olam, and that was not in his mind the whole time, Amidah doesn't count, and he has to repeat the Amidah. What a Hadush comes out according to Rav Chaim Brisker. You hear this Hadush? According to this, I'm talking for myself, most of my Amidot have been negated. That we have to think throughout the whole Amidah, well, at least before we start the Amidah. When we're taking the 3 steps back, the 3 steps forward, I am now walking into the palace of the king, I am standing in front of Borei Olam. If you're standing in front of Borei Olam, you can't pray Amidah with your hand in your pocket. You can't pray Amidah leaning on a bench or a pole. You're standing in front of the king. To stand with respect. Some people argue you can't even shake. Imagine walking into the king and start shaking like a lulav in front of him and asking for your needs. You have to stand like a stick. That's how Rabbi Moshe Feinstein used to pray the Amidah. I saw him, we prayed with him. We prayed with the rabbi when I was in 9th grade. Rabbi Heber took us to the east side to pray with Rabbi Moshe Feinstein on Thanksgiving Day. He didn't say Yehi Shem the rabbi. We were there. We prayed the regular and we didn't smell any turkey in his kitchen either. In any event, the rabbi prayed like a stick. He's standing in front of Borei Olam. So this Kavanah according to Rav Chaim Brisker over here is integral according to Rambam. And if you don't have this Kavanah, you're out. Now, who defends us? Comes a rabbi called Hazon Ish. And Hazon Ish comes along and says, Mechila, I agree with you that there's 2 Kavanot, Rav Chaim, but I'm not going to go so far like you said, that if a person's not thinking the whole time in the Amidah, that he's standing in front of Borei Olam, that his Amidah is erased. Because Hazon Ish says it's impossible that a person when he's praying the Amidah, it doesn't enter his mind even for a second. Hey, even a guy who's praying with the worst Kavanah, hey, he knows he's standing in front of Borei Olam, that enters his mind at least for a split second. So Hazon Ish says, it doesn't have to be a major kavanah like Rav Chaim Brisker says. It's enough to have a very weak kavanah, and you fulfill your obligation. Of course, Hazon Ish agrees that the best thing is to stand in front of the Amidah with that realization that you're talking in front of Borei Olam. This is very difficult because you can't see Borei Olam. And that's why it says Hasidim Rishonim, before they would pray the Amidah, they would take an hour. And then they would pray for an hour, and after they finished the Amidah, take another hour. So I understand the hour before. The hour before was this exact thing. To take out all the different things out of their mind, to zone in that they're standing in front of Borei Olam. It's like a form of meditation. And they would stand fine when they're ready, they understand that they're standing in front of God, Hashem Sifnai Tiftach. And they would keep that kavanah throughout. And the Amidah took an hour, I understand also. One can question, what do you need an hour after the Amidah? So some will explain it because, hey, this is recovery. Yeah, you just stood with the king. You can't just go back to regular earth. It takes you time now to, some people in the exercise, after they finish exercising, they don't just go now where they walk away. They have to do some more things at the end of the exercise. What do they call it? Cool down. That's what they call it. Exactly. Very good. They cool down. Why don't you just stop? You finish exercising. Oh, now we have to, the post, after also we have to do something in order so the body reacts the right way. So the same thing in the Hasidim, after they prayed with Borei Olam, they took an hour. In any event, we're seeing from both the Hazon Ish and both from Rav Chaim Brisker, based on this Rambam, that Kavanah in the Amidah is vital. Shulchan Aruch comes along and says, HaMitpalel tzarich sheyichaven b'chol haberachot. Of course, one should have Kavanah and all the berachot. He's talking about the meaning of the words. Ve'im enu yachol lechaven b'chulam, but if he cannot have Kavanah and all the berachot, he doesn't know what they mean. Lepachot yichaven be'avot. At least he has to have Kavanah in the first beracha of the Amidah. Ve'im lo kiven be'avot, if he did not have Kavanah in the first beracha, apal pi shekiven b'chol ha'she'ar, even though he had intention and Kavanah the rest. Meaning, he prayed the Amidah according to Kavanot HaArizal and Kavanot HaRashash. He prayed with a big Siddur like this with all the Kavanot, with all the Shemot, but he just didn't have Kavanah in the first Beracha, even a simple meaning of the words. Maran says, Yahzor v'yitpalel. You have to repeat the Amidah. And this is halakha. Comes the Rama, Rabbi Moshe Isolish, the posek of the Ashkenazim, and he says, Va'idana, today, in Hazrim, Bishvil Haslam Kavanah. Today we don't go back if a guy doesn't have Kavanah. Why? She'af b'hazara karavush lo yekaven. Imken lama yahzor. Because what's going to happen? It's a vicious cycle. The second time he's going to go back to pray to Amidah, he's also not going to have Kavanah. So what did we gain? So you told me I pray a third time? Third time he's not going to have Kavanah. Says today we're so karud, we're so bogged down with different problems and preoccupied that we can't even tell a guy to go back a second time because we're not sure he can have Kavanah the second time. Comes the Mishnah Berurah in his book called Biur Halakha, and I'm reading. He says, let's say a guy prayed the Amidah. He didn't have Kavanah in the first Beracha. According to Maran, Shulchan Aruch that we just read, you have to repeat Amidah. Do not pass go, that's it. At Tagibur it doesn't continue. Stop. Walk out, come back in, clean your brain, go back into the Amidah. That's the halakha. And the truth is, Hacham Ovadia writes that if you're a type of person that is able, and you know that you usually have Kavanah, and just this one time you got preoccupied, and you really know that you know how to have the Kavanah, then this halakha applies. That you'd stop in the middle of Amidah, wherever you are, say, hold it, I'm lost. I'd have Kavanah. Now, because every beracha you say is a beracha l'matala. Because your Amidah doesn't count. Because if you didn't have Kavanah in the first beracha, the rest of the berachot are wasted. So you go back from the beginning. Not out of order. You stop. You got to laminim the mashirim ati tikva. So I have Kavanah first beracha. Stop. Again, if you're a person that knows how to have Kavanah, and you usually have Kavanah. But if you don't usually have Kavanah, so then it's not going to help you. But according to Hacham Ovadia, you go back. I'm just trying to show you how important this is. And even according to the Ashkenazim, you know what the Ashkenazim do? Let's say a guy prayed the Amidah. He said, Baruch Atah Hashem Magen Abraham. He said, Magen Abraham. He realized, oh, I didn't have Kavanah. Now what do I do? Halakha says for the Ashkenazim, they have to stop over there and wait till the Hazara and listen to the Hazan say the Beracha and then continue at Tagibur. He cannot continue with the Tagibur until the Hazan and the Hazara says it. That's for Ashkenazim. And furthermore, according to all opinions, let's say you're praying the Amidah, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu, Baruch Avotenu, Abraham, Baruch Yitzhak. You said, Umebi Goel Ibn Abraham Mansour Ba'aba, Melech Ozet. You didn't say Baruch Atah Hashem yet, Magen Abraham. You remember you didn't have Kavanah. According to all opinions, you have to go back. Because you didn't say Baruch Atah Hashem yet, so you're still able to go back. What are you seeing from over here, Rabotai? How important Kavanah and Tefilah is. And more importantly, how important Kavanah in the first Beracha is. So somebody would laugh. That's what they taught you tonight? They taught you the Kavanah in the first Beracha, the Amidah? That's what you came out raining? You came over here to learn the simple ABCs that they're supposed to teach you in second grade? They're not embarrassed. The Mesilat Yesharim writes in his introduction that the problem with people, problem is, certain things, because they're so simple, people disregard them. But these simple things are the basis of our religion. So sometimes, because it's such a basic thing, we don't give it the importance that it deserves. But on the contrary, because it's so basic, that means it's vital. Then therefore we should give it our couple of minutes at least to understand. So, with your permission, I'll take a minute or two and just explain you the first Beracha of Amidah. Hashem sefatai teftach ufi yagid telatecha. The beginning of the Amidah starts, Hashem. Now you're standing in front of, now you're talking directly. Now that in itself is a tremendous honor that we're able to call God directly. Hashem, Sifatay Tiftah. Open my mouth. What do you mean open my mouth? Because we're nervous. Hey, imagine when you're standing in front of the king, you start stuttering. You don't know what to say. Hashem, Sifatay Tiftah. Please Hashem, I can't even open my mouth. Give me the zechut to open my mouth in front of you. So this line alone should take a couple of seconds. This is the line that gets you into the mode that you're standing in front of God. Hashem, God, Sifatay Tiftah, please Hashem, open my mouth. I'm nervous, I can't open my mouth in front of you. And then let the words come out. One thing to get the mouth open. First, Sifatay Tiftah. But that's not enough, now you want the words to come out. Sometimes, when you see something scary, you open your mouth, but you can't get a sound, because you're nervous. So first, Hashem, Sifatay Tiftah, open my mouth, now Ufi Agid. Now let my mouth spit out the words. Baruch Atah Hashem. Most people do not understand these words. How do they interpret it? Baruch Atah Hashem. God, you are blessed. What does that mean, you are blessed? Are we blessing God? Does God need our blessing? That's the first line you're going to say in the Amidah, you come up there already. Hashem needs our beracha. So we come and say, Baruch Atah Hashem. Hashem, you are the source of all berachot. All the berachot, you're Baruch. All the berachot that we have in the world comes from you. Baruch Atah. Now look how humble our God is. When you talk to a king, usually you talk to a king in third person. Usually when you walk into the king, you say, does the king want something to drink? Your honor, your highness, all these words they use. You don't say, how are you doing? You don't say you. You is direct. You don't say you to the king. How is the president doing? How is the king doing? Does the king want something? Over in the Amidah, God says, no, you're my child. You can talk to me direct. Baruch Atah. You are blessed. We're able to talk to him direct. Elokeinu. Yes. Well, you have a problem? Who did you want to write this? The scholars, the scientists from Harvard?
No, but how are they saying it in Hashem? You're saying that Hashem is saying
No, we're saying it. Baruch Atah Hashem. We're saying, God, you are the source of all blessings.
So how are we saying that Hashem is humble if Hachamim were it?
Because the Hachamim would not write something if they didn't have Ruach HaKodesh. These words over here, if they were able to write them, that means they had divine inspiration when they wrote it. They didn't just write, they weren't poets. This is not the Avdil Robert Louis Stevenson sitting down on a train here. We're looking at the cows grazing and then writing some words when it comes to his mind. This is the Hachamim sitting with Kushav Ta'ara, and the Ruach HaKodesh comes on them. And when the Ruach HaKodesh comes on them, they write the words that Borei Olam says. So this is divine. Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu. You're our God, and you're the God of our forefathers. What does this mean, Elokeinu? What does it mean that God is our God? The explanation is, how does God become your God? Elokeinu. How does he become your God? We believe that, of course, you have to have emunah. You have to believe that there's a God. And your emunah has to be simple emunah. You believe because your father told you there's a God, and your grandfather told you there's a God, and your rabbi told you there's a God. Emunah timimah, we call that. But at the same time, you have to develop emunah. There's certain ways that you're able to find God. Meaning it's not enough to say, I believe in God. Why do you believe in God? Because they told me. It's not enough to be robotic. You also have to search God. For example, in the creation. Person go to look around the beautiful world we have over here. In 2 seconds you can find Borei Olam. Studying the human eye. Studying the human digestive system. Studying a plant. Studying a rose. One time I walked into somebody's house. He just did a whole decorations. He spent, must have been thousands of dollars redoing a whole room in his house. And on the table there was a vase with roses. So I walked in, I didn't realize. He says, Eddie, wow, what beautiful roses. He says, roses? So all the things you saw in the room over here, that's what caught your eye? I said, this is a big musar you're saying. The roses are godly. The roses of Borei Olam, the wisdom of Borei Olam, this stands out. You see it, of all the beautiful things, the person's eye catches the rose. So when you look at the creation, you see how perfect it is, master designer, you get the emunah becomes stronger. That's how he becomes Elokeinu. Elokeinu, he became my God through intellect. So I was able to conceptually see God in the creation. But we're not cocky enough to say, well, yeah, we found God on our own. Elokeinu ve'elokei avotenu was the God of our fathers. Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Which means, because we had such religious parents, like Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, that's why we're able to find God. Because their emunah was so strong, we're not going to sit and take credit, yeah, we found God on our own, and we accomplished it. No, Elokeinu ve'elokei avotenu. It's because God was the God of our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. The rabbis tell us any Tefilah that doesn't have the mentioning of Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov can't go up. Prayer can't go up because they invented the Tefilah. And their zechut, we call zechut avot, carries the Tefilah to the higher level. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov. Now we have no problem saying extra words here, but we have to analyze why did the rabbis add these words. The Amidah could have said Elohei Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. Why Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov? Just say Elohei Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why? The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Explanation is that each one of the Avot found God on his own mentality, from his own intellect, on his own path, from his own angle. Don't think that Abraham was religious and Yitzhak was religious by default. His father was religious, he has to be religious. His father's a big rabbi, chief rabbi, he's not going to be religious, his son. So he had to go after his father because of that's the way he was brought up. No. Elohei Abraham, just like God, just like Abraham found God, Elohei Yitzhak. Yitzhak found God on his own. And Yaakov the same way. Elohei Yaakov. Ha'el. El always is almighty. That refers to the power of Borei Olam, and also the power to sustain. That God gives parnasah to the whole world. God feeds the whole entire world. Imagine that. Imagine somebody came to you and said, you're a caterer. Yeah, I'm a caterer. So, well, we need you to cater a party for us, but you only have to supply the soda. Oh, that's an easy job. Okay, how many people? I'm making a party for China. China? How much soda? That's a lot of soda. So I can't do it. I can't supply. But God supplies the soda for China every day. There's no shortage of soda in China, by the way. And not only China, but the whole entire world. And not only soda, but every single food that's on the menu, Borei Olam supplying it. Ha'el, an almighty, master caterer, supplier, that's able to feed the whole entire world 3 meals a day. Ha'el. That shows the power of Borei Olam. Ha-Gadol. What does Gadol mean? Now most people, when they get to these parts of the Amidah, they read English words, and they don't understand the difference between them. Gadol, Gibor, and Norah. He's great, he's big, he's awesome, which means nothing. What does that mean to us? Gadol, we explain like this. Gadol is tall. Something that is from earth and goes all the way high up. That's Gadol. There's another word that's called Ram. Ram means it's elevated. It's just up. The moon, for example, Ram. It's up. The tree is Gadol. The tree is on the ground and goes up. That's Gadol. God is Gadol. Which means God's supervision on His creatures is not only from heaven, but Borei Olam is also not only in Shamayim. And forgetting about the world, He's Gadol. He's on earth also. So God is up and down. The Goyim don't believe that. The Goyim believe Borei Olam created the world and He left. He's upstairs. That's what we say. Adonai b'Sion Gadol. When it comes to Sion, the Jews, God is Gadol. Ram hu al kol ha'amim. The Amim, the nations of the world, Ram. He's up there, but He's not down. That's Gadol. Gibor. What does Gibor mean? Gibor. Strong. What do you mean strong? Strong would mean not only in physical strength, but in strength to conquer his midot. Which means, when somebody angers you, it's your knee-jerk reaction to take revenge, to punish. It takes a strong man to have the willpower not to execute punishment right away. To have patience. Patience takes strength. God is the master Gibor. We anger him all day long. But what does God do? He controls his anger. Ezo HaGibor HaKovesh Et Yisro. He controls his anger, he controls his midot, not to execute punishment right away. So Gibor is physical strength, and strength to control. Now, by the way, there are some people that you see in shul that pray this first beracha in record timing. They're setting all type of Olympic records over in this first beracha. You can't imagine it. They start the Amidah. You know, we once said the way some people they pray the Amidah. They start the Amidah. They count 3 seconds. Then they scream out Muridatal. Then they count another 4 seconds. They scream out Atahunatanu. They wait another 3 seconds. Barech Aleinu or Barechenu. If it's Rosh Chodesh, they wait another 12 seconds because it's the end. Ya'aleh v'yavo. They just scream out the highlights of the Amidah. And then they wait another 4 seconds and make Oseh Shalom. And they go back to talking. This first Berakah, the Amidah, should take you at least 3-4 minutes. Maybe we're exaggerating. 3-4 minutes? A minute. 30 seconds. But to pray the Amidah, the first Berakah, this is the key, by the way. If you don't have this, you don't have anything. So all the kavanot that you have on the other Shema Kolenu, give me this, that's beautiful. But if you don't have this, the other thing doesn't start. Continue. Van Norah. Now the way my rabbis explained me Van Norah is awesome. So my rabbi said, what does awesome mean? Awesome is something that you cannot describe. It's like you go to the Swiss Alps, and you look over the Swiss Alps at the mountains over there with the snow on it. He says, that's awesome. You can't explain it. You can't explain it. If you're there, you're there. You go to the Grand Canyon. You're standing at the Grand Canyon, you're looking over the Grand Canyon. Norah, it's awesome. That's Borei Olam. It's awesome. It's impossible to depict it. It's impossible to explain it. El Elyon. What does El Elyon mean? Elyon is high. Borei Olam is El, the superpower. Elyon, that's on the highest level, which means he's Kiseh Kavod. He's sitting on his chair, which is 7 heavens high. There's 7 heavens, and God is above the 7th heaven in his chair. El Elyon. Gomer Hasadim Tobim. Even though God is so high, you'd say, God is so lofty, He has time to deal with human beings? Yes. Gomer Hasadim Tobim. What does it mean, Hasadim Tobim? Good favors. Is there such a thing as a bad favor? Hasadim Tobim. Of course Hasadim Tobim. The explanation Hasadim Tobim is good favors, meaning He doesn't charge us for that, like we said last week. Sometimes God does us a goodness and doesn't take payment from us. Sometimes He does you a favor, but it costs you olam haba. Gomer Hasadim Tovim. Even though we don't deserve it, even though we're not Ra'ui, you give us favors that are actually good. Another explanation, Gomer Hasadim Tovim, is even though the favor doesn't look good, in actuality it is good. Gomer Hasadim, He's doing us kindness that are good, even though from human perception it might not look good. Konei Hakol. What does that mean, Konei Hakol? Konei Hakol, He created everything. He owns everything. Konei Hakol. He owns everything. Everything belongs to God. La Hashem ha'aretz umlo'ah. Property of God. V'zocher hasdei avot. He remembers the hesed of the avot. That's Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. He remembers their kindness. Zocher. Zocher is present. He still remembers the Akedah Yitzchak. He still remembers the Achnasat Ruchim of Avraham Avinu. He still remembers the honesty of Yaakov Avinu. He still remembers the piety of Yitzchak Avinu. Zocher in the present. And therefore, Umevi Goel, God is bringing the Mashiach. Doesn't say V'yavi in the future, Umevi in the present. Every second we're getting closer to the Goel. Lebnei b'neim, to their children, to their grandchildren, which is us. Why is He bringing it? I don't think He's bringing it because we deserve it. Lema'at Shemo. He's bringing it for His own sake. We don't deserve it. Lema'at Shemo. His own namesake, because His namesake is being desecrated amongst the Goyim. However, even though He's bringing it for His sake, the ahaba, it's out of love. Sometimes a son pesters his father. Dad, please give me a bicycle. No, you can't have one. Please give me a bicycle. No, you can't have one. After he pesters him enough, the father says, okay, you can have the bicycle. But it's not the ahava. He's doing it to get him off his back. Take it already. When we go in, he's going to bring the Mashiach. Leman Shemo, he's bringing, not because we deserve it, because enough for him, take it already. But be'ahava. It's going to be be'ahava. He's going to give it to us even though we don't deserve it, but out of love. It's not going to be out of, Has v'shalom, the opposite. Melech, Ozer, Moshiach, Magen. What do I mean, Melech? Melech, the king. Ozer. Ozer means God helps those that help themselves. You're Ozer, you help us. Which means we make an effort, and you also help us. That's Ozer. Ozer means he helps those that help themselves. Or Moshiach. Certain people can't help themselves. Certain people need the help of God, and they cannot show effort. But not someone in the hospital. But not someone that doesn't have the wisdom to make the right decision, to even make an effort. Sometimes God has to bring the salvation. It's Moshiach. So Ozer is together with the person. Moshiach is alone. Again, God saves a person and shields him from any problems from coming. Baruch atah Hashem. God, you are the source of all blessings. Magen Abraham. You shielded Abraham when he went to war against the 5 kings and the 4 kings. Abraham had an army of 318 men. He picked up the sand. He threw it. The sand turned into arrows. He killed 9 armies. And he came back. No soldiers dying. Magen Abraham. Whatever protected Abraham, like the pasuk says. Al tira abdi Abraham anochi magen nach. I'm going to protect you. So therefore, that's the first beracha. That's basic kavanah that you have to have. So someone will ask, Rabbi, the whole concept of Tefilah, can prayer actually change what was written for me on Rosh Hashanah? This defies everything we learned. On Rosh Hashanah it says you're going to be healthy, you're going to have money, you're going to have everything's sealed. And then we say, well, it's not really sealed, it's written, and then it's not sealed until Kippur. Okay, so Kippur is the last day, Kippur is the last. Alright, it's not really Kippur, because you have Rosh Hashanah Rabbah, the last day of Sukkot, where it's not handed over to the executing angels, so you still have one last chance for him to rip it up. Alright, Rosh Hashanah Rabbah is the last day? Whatever you want to say. Last day Rosh Hashanah Rabbah? Yeah, Rosh Hashanah Rabbah. After Rosh Hashanah Rabbah, what do you pray Shahri? Give me life, give me money, give me... It's done already, it's written already. You're late. We should have a 10-day period of praying. Yeah, from Rosh Hashanah to Kippur, that's going to be 10 days where we go crazy with prayer. And then leave us alone till the next year. How could prayer change a Gezerah? This is a very short question. Question is answered by a great rabbi called Rabbi Yosef Albo. Rabbi Yosef Albo is one of the Rishonim. He wrote a sefer called Sefer HaIkarim. He says like this. When a person prays listen to a wonderful hadush. What a wonderful hadush. He says when a person prays with the right kavanah and he understands what he's saying, he realizes he's standing in front of Borei Olam. So Rabbi Yosef Albo says you're not the same person after Tefilah. Tefilah is the ability to create a metamorphosis and change a person. You're not the same guy. So if the Gezerah was on Yaakov ben Rachel, this is not Yaakov ben Rachel, it's a new guy. Tefilah doesn't change the Gezerah, it changes the person. The Gezerah was on the Joe, this is not Joe, this is a different guy. When the Malach comes to execute, they go after the guy. It's a different guy, but it's not him, right? The Tefilah change. How does the Tefilah change him? When you realize that you're standing in front of God, the humility, the subservience, all those traits make a person better. You know, the word for Tefilah is mitpalel. I'm not going to confuse it with grammar, but there is such a thing in our religion called bigduk. And it's very important. Now really the right word for praying should be mitpalel. Mitpalel is you're praying. Mitpalel implies that's called hitpa'el. Hitpa'el, that's the conjugation of the verb, hitpa'el. Mitpalel means something is happening to you. Mitpalel. There's a metamorphosis happening to the person. Hitpa'el, you are changing. Not that it's away from the person, it's part of the person. Mitpalel, the person himself changes. So you like that concept. It's a beautiful concept. But is it foolproof? Why? He said this concept, all the rabbis asked him. Rabbi, this doesn't explain when you're praying for somebody else. It's written in the book that Mr. So-and-so is going to get sick. I come along and I pray. Please, Borei Olam, don't get him sick. Help him. So Tagid, I changed. What does that help the guy? He's the same guy. How can my prayer change somebody else's fate? These are questions you never thought of asking, but these have to be clarified once and for all. How can my prayer change his fate? So listen to a sharp answer. What a sharp answer this is. Borei Olam does not bring punishment to a person until it is calculated to the most precise measure, to the extent that when God punishes person A, he takes into calculation that that punishment is going to affect his wife. Of course, husband gets sick, the wife's punishment for her also. And Borei Olam takes into account that that's going to affect the children. And he takes into account it's going to affect his place where he works, the employees around him. And it's going to affect his friends. When a person gets punished, it doesn't affect one person. It affects many people. And God will not bring the punishment unless every single person deserves that amount of suffering. Which means, when you hear that your friend got sick, and you say, oh, what a shame, that was taken into calculation. If you didn't deserve to get that 2-second feeling of, wow, what a shame, he wouldn't have got sick. So, when one person gets a personal suffering, everybody's suffering is taken into calculation. And if one of those people doesn't deserve to suffer because of him, God can't bring it. It's not justified. Mishpeteh Hashem emet. The judgment of God is true. Sadeku yahdav. It's justified yahdav by everybody. Which means God doesn't take the one person into account. Sadeku yahdav. It's justified throughout. So therefore, when I come and pray for Mr. So-and-so to get a refuah shleimah, he's a bonus. Please, Borei Olam. Bad news, he can't get sick, because I don't deserve to hear bad news. What a hadush. If you thought the first one was a hadush from the Sefer Halbot, this is a big hadush. It's tremendous. What a yesod. What a concept. That Tefilah changes you. Somebody once asked, Rabbi, isn't it a little strange in the beginning of the Amidah, we're praising Borei Olam. You're great, unbelievable, Gadol, Gibor. And then after that we ask, give me wisdom, give me refuah. So a simple answer they say, which has to be understood. Of course, when you go in front of the king, you don't ask right away. First you have to praise the king. Oh, the king, you're great, you're powerful. Please can I have this? This would be good if we're talking about a mortal king. But Borei Olam, we're going to false flatter by sketching Borei Olam. Hashem, I love you, Mafi Mitlag, you're the best. Gibor, Nora, Adir, Azad. Can I have $1 million, please? Are you sketching Borei Olam over here? He knows your Kavanah. So the explanation is, when we're praying the beginning of the Amidah, God doesn't need to hear our praises, He knows His praises. The beginning of the Amidah is for you to know who you're praying to. The first part of the Amidah is saying it to yourself. God, Ha'el, wash the Bashem, look at this God we have over here, He feeds the whole entire world, Almighty, Gibor, His strength, power, Derech HaPayim, El Elyon, Konei HaKolios, everything. Now already, that beginning Berachah, the Amidah, sets the whole tone for the rest of the Amidah. You know who you're standing in front of. First you read a biography about the God. So, wow, what a book, what a story. Now you stand in front of God, you can ask Him for anything. So the change takes place in the first Berachah. It's not for God, He doesn't have to hear it. It's for you to hear it, who you're praying to. Furthermore, there's a famous, there's a lot to say on Tefilah. It's obvious there's a lot to say on this subject. I'm trying to say the Ikarim here. There is an argument amongst the rabbis if the obligation to pray is from the Torah or is it from the rabbis. Some opinions say it's from the Torah. That's the opinion of Harambam. He says it's a mitzvah from the Torah to pray every day. The Ramban is not that of that opinion. The Ramban says that it's a kindness of God that He lets us pray to Him. But everybody could do what they want. But it's a chance that God gives humanity to approach Him and ask Him for things. There's a famous hadith from a great rabbi called Simcha Bunim Mifishisha. He's one of the Hasidic rabbis. He asks a question. After Adam and Rishon made a sin when he ate from the tree, so 3 people got punished. Adam, Hava, and the snake, the Nahash. Adam, he has to now sweat to make a living. He earns a living with the sweat of his brow. Before he sinned, the wheat used to grow on trees. The bread used to grow on trees. He makes some motzideh min haaretz, he pulls it off the tree, eats it. Now he has to go plant, and he has to do all the work, and then he has to bake it, and so on. Hava, she has now trouble in childbirth, labor. Okay, Sa'ar. The snake, who's worse than all of them. The snake is the instigator behind everything. What's the snake's punishment? You have to eat the dirt of the ground all your life, all your existence. Adam Rishon, Miskin, he doesn't know where he's going to make his next dollar. He has to run around the whole world to find to make Parnassah. The snake, what the Alam says, you're going to eat dirt for the rest of your life. That means the snake eats dirt. That means his digestive system takes dirt. What a blessing. A snake will never starve. A snake doesn't have to look for its Parnassah. Wherever you want, there's dirt. And that means he's running all over the world to find Parnassah, and the snake, who's the worst guy, gets the biggest blessing. Your food will be next to your mouth your whole life. What does it mean? Mashal, they say, I'm not going to give an example. There was a father, he had 2 sons. Of course, the father supports his children. One son, he loved him, because the son was respectful, he was good. The other son was a wayward son, he went off the path, but the father says, my son still have to support him. He tells the good son, I want you to come every Sunday to the house, and I'll give you your allowance. The other son, he says, here's your allowance for the next 10 years. Don't come to the house. Stay away. The other son gets all upset. Now, why you give him one lump sum, me, you come every week? He says, you I love. I want you to come to ask me every week, so I can give you. Him I don't want to talk to. I don't want to see him. So it's a punishment. Borei Olam tells Adam and Rishon, I'm punishing you, but in the punishment there's a blessing. I'm going to make life difficult for you. The Parnassah is going to be difficult to amass and acquire. But I'm going to give you a chance to come to me to ask for me for things. I'm taking away things from you on purpose so you'll come to me and have a relationship with me. And talk to me. The snake, Borei Olam says, I don't want to know from you. I don't want to talk to you. Here's all your Parnassah. Here's all the Parnassah for your children, for your grandchildren. Le'olam, here's all the dirt in the world. Sahtan, go eat, leave us alone, don't come back again. We don't want to talk to you. That's the curse of the snake. The curse of the snake is not that he got all his food. That God is putting him in harem, so to speak. God is telling him, excommunicate, I want to talk to you. So it's a zechut sometimes when Borei Olam takes away things from us. He's telling us, talk to me. The imahot, the mothers of Sarat of Kadahayel, they were all akarot. Why? Because Borei Olam loves the prayers of the Siddiqeen. He forces them in situations that they'll be forced to come and ask Borei Olam for things. This is the subject of Tefilah. Therefore, Rabotai, we're in Elul now, a couple of weeks before Rosh Hashanah. This is something we can work on. It's in our capability. It's easy. All it takes is 30 or 40 seconds of the Amidah to pray the first beracha with the kavanah, to pray it slow. Ladies are obligated to pray 1 Amidah a day minimum, preferably shaharit. They can't pray shaharit, and of course mincha and arbit. But the ladies have to have this kavanah no different than the men. The same rule applies. The men are obligated to pray 3 times a day. But this kavanah has to be had. Just think about it. If the first beracha goes good, then automatically the rest of the Amidah, it counts. If it counts, it can hit. It can affect. But if it doesn't count, it's dead on arrival. Therefore, let's mehazek ourselves a couple of weeks before the holiday. In Elul, this could be our preparation. And If we can pray the right way, and Borei Olam will answer us, and we'll change. If we change, then already the Gezerot change, because we're different people, the Gezerot will not be set on us, and Borei Olam will only write us the Gezerot Tovot, Yeshua B'Nechamot. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ואמן. רבי חנניה בן קשה אומר, עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא זכות ישראל לפיך, כרבנות לנו שנאמר, אמרה חפש, אמרה צדקו יחדיר תורה ויאדיר.